Simon, how did you develop Scientism? What gave you the idea?
Well, Alice, the history of Scientism and my own history are intertwined. You see, my life was far from perfect, and throughout my life I wished that it had been different. I wished that I had been someone different. However, Scientism would not be possible if my life had been any different. Every single event in my life, whether good or bad, prepared me to be able to accept the idea of Scientism, to be able to listen when science spoke to me. But let me start at the beginning. I was born into a Protestant Christian family, but wasn't all that interested in religion, apart from a few instances when I was trying to impress my family, or trying not to seem too different. I and my two brothers spent our early years in boarding schools in Tamil Nadu, which is one of the southernmost states in India. Our parents lived in Dubai because there were much better economic opportunities there. We visited our parents about once a year. Eventually, my two brothers and myself grew sick of being in boarding schools, so we lobbied our parents to let us live in Dubai with them. I then entered the next phase of my life. I grew quite proficient in computers and technology. The internet was very slow to catch on in Dubai. When it did, I suddenly had a massive storehouse of information at my fingertips. I read much on the topics of science and religion. I also followed paths that others feared to tread, like Satanism, paganism, Wicca, etc. Eventually I came to the conclusion that religion was, and all religions were, a heap of nonsense, and became an atheist. This decision was also accelerated by various environmental and cultural factors, such as music, for example. There is one quote I came across that, to my surprise, summed up my entire relationship with religion thus far. It is a quote by Ragnar Redard in his book Might is Right, "There is but one absolute truth, there are no absolute truths." However, perhaps one can often arrive at that quiet place in the center, having traveled both extremes. The significance of this quote is simply astounding. When I first came to Canberra, I was pretty lonely. I had no family here in Australia, and I found it difficult to make friends. I tried to be as positive as I could, but I could see that I was slowly sinking into depression. It was starting to affect my studies. I was starting to wonder if perhaps my decision to come to Australia was not a wise one. Then I met someone from a Christian group on campus. He invited me to a talk. I think it was called The God Confusion, and it dealt with Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion. The churchgoers were very friendly to me, and for me, that was a very welcome change from the previous 6 months. But how could religious people be nice and friendly? Wasn't it true that all religious people were bloodthirsty, suicide bombing, witch-burning savages? Had all that I had been reading been a lie, or at least misrepresentations? I rationalized, saying that they had to appear friendly to attract people to join the group. I attended many of their gatherings, and it was during one of these that science first spoke to me. This first contact will forever be known as focal point. All my experiences up to that point were like little random flashes of light that meant nothing by themselves. Science was like a lens, they concentrated all of them into a meaningful picture. And what I saw astonished me. But the world was not yet ready to see what I had seen. My experiences were mocked by nearly everyone except older people, who had much more life experience. It is not surprising, because in its current state, Scientism can only be properly understood by high-level Scientists. Trying to explain it to anyone else would be like trying to explain quantum mechanics to a monkey.
How do your family feel about the idea of Scientism?
I don't think my family would be very surprised. My father's side of the family had more than its fair share of religious leaders. My father's brother was a famous preacher named Paul Laurie. His 3 sons are also involved in religious ministry. However, I'm sure that they would be against the whole idea. My mother and everyone on her side of the family are Christian. My brothers are probably agnostic. My half-brother's family is Christian. So I guess I'm the black sheep of the family, religiously speaking.
And how will you raise your own children?
Now there's a can of worms. I think I would like to raise my children to be Scientists. But a more important question is, how will my future spouse react to my beliefs? I don't know the answer to that. Science will show me the way when the time comes.